Okay, so I was playing around with this for a few hours yesterday and I've managed to figure out how to set up a radial wheel that simulates an H pattern, so you can use all 18 gears with splitter and range on the Steam Deck, and it requires no mods, just base game, obviously a Steam Deck, or I'm assuming a Steam controller with your computer, but it all uses the virtual menus. So you only need to make two virtual menus. I have gears and gear set. I'll explain that in a bit, but I'll just quickly show you how this kind of functions. There is no clutch. It is automatic clutch, and I am thinking of figuring that out, but for now this video is just to show you how this works, and kind of how cool the virtual menu function is for the Steam Deck, because it could be used for many other things, not just for quick use like potions or weapons or anything like that in games, but for cool things like this. So you just need to look at it just like a normal 6-speed, like a G27 or a G29 shifter that you would usually use with a steering wheel. Now I do have this button and this button here, but that was originally for range and split, but it wasn't the easiest to use because, you know, when you were shifting through the gears you were kind of jumping a lot through the gears and it was a bit of a pain. So what I've done is the two buttons on the back there are now range and split. So splitter is on the top button, range is on the bottom, and that works quite well because you have to actually click this touchpad to select the gears. So you can almost pinch the touchpad and those buttons at the back to effectively use the splitter and range, and it feels quite good. So I'll just show you a demonstration that it does go through all the gears. So down here we have low low, and then I hit the splitter at the back, low high, splitter again. I'm going to the top now, and we go to 1 low, 1 high. I go down, 2 low, 2 high. I go up here, 3 low, 3 high. Down here, 4 low, 4 high. And then I can hit both buttons at the back and go to button 3 here, which will take me to 5 low, 5 high, 6 low, 6 high, 7 low, 7 high, and 8 low, 8 high. Reverse is up in the top left here, and obviously works just as normal with your splitter and range, and then neutral is in the middle here. So as you can see, it works really well. I haven't had any issues in the hours that I've been testing this. It seems to work kind of flawlessly already. Now the drawback is obviously you lose the mouse movement for looking around, which was quite cozy here, but I find it's been easy enough to just rebind that to the thumbstick. Again, this video is just to show you how this works. All the other binds are completely up to you, obviously, and I will tweak things as I go. So just a little demonstration of it driving. Obviously we can go into low low, hit my gas. Again, there's no clutch. Select the next gear, and so forth. As you can see, it works quite well. I'm now going to hit the range. So it works flawlessly, and then when you're downshifting too, you just do it backwards obviously, and it works quite nice. And as you can see, there's no misinputs or anything like that, and then your splitter works perfectly. So I will show you now how it all kind of comes together and works. So to settle this up, it isn't too bad once you get your head around it. It's just a lot of kind of button assigning and stuff like that. So you hit your Steam button, and we want to go to controller settings down here. Now I've used this gear setup just on the simple official layout that, you know, it was pretty much already loaded on the Steam Deck when I installed it. So you just go to control settings here, edit layout, and we want to go down to virtual menu. Now the reason why we have two menus here is with the way this is set up. If you accidentally are going through your control bindings in American Truck Sim, if you somehow unbind the shifter select inputs, if you try and use this virtual menu to rebind it, it doesn't quite work. It'll rebind different gears, and you'll understand when I show you how this works. But the idea is the gear set is if I ever do accidentally change the bindings or reset them, I can assign this virtual menu to here, and that is just straight normal inputs, so it's really easy to just rebind that way. But the way this works is, if I go into gears here, I've obviously created a radial menu that has eight slots on it, and then in each slot, so I started this with the low button here, and essentially what you do is you have to allocate extra commands to each one that will actually push all the other commands off. Because of the way a G27 and a G29 or, you know, similar shifter works, when the shifter is in gear, it is technically holding that button down. So with this, you have to set a start press toggle, so when I do select the gear, it starts and holds the gear. Now when I shift to another gear, I need to do a release press on all the other gears in case they are toggled on, because if you don't, you then get an overlap. The game thinks you're holding 2, 3 or 4 gears, etc. Okay, so I'm gonna make a new profile to show you how to set this up. I know it's a lot of inputs and all that, but each one is pretty much identical. The only difference is you skip out the you don't put the release on the initial button you are pushing. So I'll show you how to do that now. So I'm going to add a virtual menu. This one will be gear test, and we want to create a radial menu, and this is it here. So I'm going to edit that, and we want to add a virtual menu here, and what I'm going to do is just push A on it and then push back. I'm now going down again. I'm going to push A and push back, and I'm going to do this until I get the desired amount of menu slots over here to match what a real gearbox kind of would have. There you go. So we have 8 slots, and what I'm going to do, just to make this a little bit easier, is I'm going to go to trackpad. Left trackpad is going to be gear test. So now I can go back into this. When we're in the game, it should show you. So the radial menu center button is going to be neutral. Radial menu button 1 will be third. and button 2 would be 5th. This is unused. This would be 5th, 3rd, and 1st. Yes. No, 2nd and then 1st. It's just the way the American Truck Sim reads these inputs. So what we'll do, we'll start with the first input, which is radial menu button 8, and that is going to be input 1, which will be reverse. So we go add command button 1, and then I'm going to go to settings, and this I will go into settings here, go down, and we want toggle. Okay, I'm going to go back, and then what we want to do is go settings again on that, and we want to add extra command, and this is going to push button 2. Now while I'm here, see I'm already on the settings symbol, I'm just going to push A again, add extra command button 3, add extra command button 4, add extra command button 5, add extra command button 6. Now that's all you need to do. I did set up 7 and 8 as my range and split, but for this example you don't need to do that, and I would suggest you set your range and split as something else, you know, like the back pedals. That seems to be the comfiest I've had so far. Now what we need to do is change the setting on our first command here for button 1 to a start press. Then all these other ones, which are going to be our cancels for all the other gears, needs to be changed to release press. Okay, so I'm just going to go through and do that like so. There we go. So our reverse gear is now set up. Now what you can do is we go left to this symbol here, and we have a whole bunch of different symbols. Now just to make life easier, you can use this to differentiate the gears. I was using the user ones. As you can see, we have the different gears here. So I'm going to use this one without a number for reverse, and click that. Now I know you can add these into the system, so at some point I would like to set up some Eaton filler 18 speed symbols that can go as placement, just to make it a lot nicer, and I'm going to bang that in there. Now I'm going to go to what would be the second button input, which is down here, and that is button 6. Just remember 7 and button 3 are not going to be used. We only have those, so this is in the same H pattern shape as a Eaton shifter. So I'm going to go to button 6, and this is now going to be input 2. So set that to button 2. Again, I'm going to go to settings, and I'm going to add extra command, and this will be button 1. So you've got to remember, if you're doing button 2, you need to include all the other ones that isn't button 2. So now I'm going to add another one, and that will be button 3, button 4, button 5, button 6. Okay, now I want to go through and just change these. So radial menu, I've gone the wrong way up. So button 2 here needs to be set to start press, and it also needs to be toggle. The rest just need to be changed to release press. Oh. Okay, and not toggled. So just go through, change these to release press. Like so. And you will end up with this gear now set up. So what you should do is, I don't want to go through each of them. I don't really want the video to be too long. So just go through each of these and do exactly what I did, but you're going to assign the buttons for each gear. Just remember, reverse in the top left is going to be button 1. Then we have button 2 for low, button 3 for second, button 4 for third, button, I'm probably getting lost here, but you know what I mean. Go up through the buttons until your last button is on this one. Again, leave these two blank. Now, for neutral, all you want to do is radial center button. This can be added as a command, and you want to do all of the available buttons. So I'm going to go to settings, add extra command, button 2, button 3, etc. Work all your way through the 6 different buttons. Now with these, because it's a neutral, it's going to clear all the other toggles. So in settings for all of these commands in neutral, we want to change that to release press. None of these should be a start press. Start press only goes on the actual button it is selecting. For example, position 2, which is down here, will be pushing button 2. Okay? So that's the whole gist of this thing. And again, you can change the symbol logo here in the middle to neutral or whatever, just to make life easier. But I won't go through the whole kind of shebang there. Hopefully what I've shown you so far gives you a rough idea. As long as you follow the rule of the button you are intending to push is a start press, and you attach all the other buttons as extra commands with release press, it should work fine. Now just some other little things is the radial menu button type set to click. You can set this up to where you don't need a push on the touchpad. You can just slide your thumb and kind of take it off and it'll put it in gear, but I had a lot of issues where it would just throw it into that gear, or you know, you might money shift the engine and stuff like that. It didn't really work out too well. The click works awesome. So all you do is you move it up and you click it in that position, and it's brilliant. It doesn't take much pressure, so it's quite nice on the thumb. All of this is fine. You can adjust that to move where you want the thing, or if you want to hide it completely, that's entirely up to you. Now, as for the gear set, basically what you need to do for that is, I'll go into this one, you just need to set the same radial menu up, but obviously we don't have neutral. We don't need to set neutral in American Truck Sim, but this is just going to be, so for example at reverse we have button 1 just like in the other one, button 2, button 3 is at the top here, etc. You get the idea. So with that, you just set it as a button. You don't need to worry about long press or toggle or anything like that. This is just so we can tell the game, hey, my gear shifter is here, I want to use that. So I'm just going to show you. I have gear test on the left here so I can kind of demonstrate it. But to set it up in American Truck Sim, it's super simple. You just go in here to your settings. Now, another drawback, you lose the mouse function here. Again, I'm going to have a play around with alternate overlays, so when I'm in this menu I can use a mouse, but for now the left joystick is fine, or the touch screen. So you want to go to options, down to controls, and I have to drag this down, and we want to take it down to where the gears are. Just here. So this is that one that I kind of set up. Now just remember, the actual gears that you have set up you can't use to set this. So put it on gear set, and then all you have to do is touch this and then go position 1, touch this, position 2, touch that, position 3, etc., and it will assign it in here and work quite well. So yeah, that's kind of the basics of it. I know it's probably not the best tutorial, but hopefully some of you can make use of that. But as you can see, it works really well. There is 0 issues on the shifting here, like so. It's almost instant when you're driving, and there's nice little haptic feedback on here that tells you which slot you're in, and also when you click it into gear, which really helps with the feel of it. But yeah, hopefully that kind of helped you in some way with setting this up. I will try and do a written tutorial just to make things a bit clearer, but at least this kind of shows roughly how to set it up. So yeah, feel free to jump in the comments and ask any further questions, or if you get stuck or something's not working, just give me a bell. I've owned this switch deck for a week. It's my first one, and I managed to figure this out, so I'm sure you can too. But yeah, it works really well. Obviously the sequential gears that you normally do on a switch deck is a lot more user friendly. Oh, I accidentally hit the splitter there. But you know, for those of you that I hit the range there. For those of you that, you know, want to have the full 18 speed, this works really well, and you know, I can still use my camera, I can still drive, and yeah, works quite well. So yeah, enjoy.